Assalamu alaikum. This is Pratusha Burwa welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. National polls under 15 years of authoritarian rule by fascist Sheikh Hasina reduced to mere farces, alleged critics. Second day of three-day tariff talks between Bangladesh and US end. Fire in capital kills 5 members of same family. Israel kills at least 83 Palestinians, including 9 aid seekers in Gaza. And Bangladesh makes Flying Star thrashing Sri Lanka by 9-1 goals in South Asian Football Federation Under-20 Women's Championship. Viewers, those were the headlines. We're moving on to the details. National elections in Bangladesh were once celebrated as democratic festivals. However, under 15 years of authoritarian rule by fascist Sheikh Hasina, critics allege that elections have been reduced to mere farces. The people's right to vote, once the foundation of democratic expression, has been systematically undermined through manipulation and political maneuvering. In connection with the controversial 3 national elections, the BNP has filed multiple lawsuits. 2 former chief election commissioners have already been arrested as part of these cases. Analysts say the Election Commission acted as a surveillance tool of the ruling government during all 3 elections held in 2014, 2018 and 2024, each marred by controversy and widespread criticism. In 2014, the main opposition party boycotted the polls, leaving little room for genuine competition. One of the most notorious allegations revolves around ballot boxes being stuffed before voting even began, particularly in the 2018 and 2024 elections, leading many to refer to them as midnight elections. The Election Commission, however, has repeatedly denied these allegations, asserting that security was ensured and that the elections were conducted neutrally. Despite these claims, political analysts, opposition parties and civil society groups continue to raise serious concerns about the integrity and transparency of the electoral process. They argue that the Election Commission consistently acted under the influence of the ruling party, undermining public trust in democracy. National Citizen Party NCP will hold its July March program today in Khulna to commemorate the first anniversary of the July Mass Uprising. Marking the occasion, NCP convener Nahid Aslam, Member Secretary Akhtar Hussain, Chief Organizer Hasnat Abdullah and Senior Joint Convener Samantha Sharmin will arrive in Khulna this afternoon. NCP's Khulna media wing said that the central leaders will arrive in Khulna via Joshore. In the evening, NCP will hold a street rally at Shibari intersection, followed by another at People's intersection later at night. NCP leaders have also planned to visit graves of July martyrs, meet the families of the injured and deceased, and conduct mass campaign in different areas of the city. The second day of the 3-day Bangladesh-United States tariff discussions concluded yesterday, with both sides presenting arguments and perspectives on the current and future dynamics of bilateral trade. While broad consensus was reached on several issues, some matters remain unresolved. The third-day session is scheduled to begin today at 9 a.m. Washington time. A significant development on the second day was one-on-one meeting between Bangladesh's Commerce Advisor Sheikh Bushruddin and U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Jamie St. Greer. Greer, who held a cabinet-level position during the Trump administration, is considered a highly influential figure. During their meeting, the two sides discussed tariff-related issues as well as broader bilateral trade and strategic interest in a cordial and constructive atmosphere. Commerce advisor Sheikh Boshiruddin outlined Bangladesh's economic landscape and emphasized that Bangladesh is committed to increasing both exports and imports from the U.S., a process that has already begun. He also called for fairness in tariff policies, ensuring that the trade environment remains competitive for Bangladesh. Ambassador Greer repeatedly assured full cooperation from the U.S. side. Commerce advisor Sheikh Boshiruddin led Bangladesh's delegation in the second day's negotiations. Joining virtually from Dhaka was National Security Advisor Dr. Khalilur Rahman. Commerce Secretary Mahbubur Rahman and Additional Secretary Dr. Nazneen Kausar Chaudhry were also present in Washington. 5 members of the same family, including a child, sustained severe burns in a house fire in Shutrapur area of the Old Dhaka in the capital. The incident occurred early Friday in Kagojitola area of Shutrapur. All the injured have been admitted to the National Institute of Burn and Plastic Surgery in Dhaka. The victims were identified as Rickshaw puller Mohammad Ripon Peda, his wife Chandani, and their children Tamim Peda, Rokun Peda, and Aisha. Shaun bin Brahman, a resident surgeon at the Burn Institute, said all 5 are in critical condition. Ripon suffered burns to 60% of his body, Chandni 45%, Tamim 42%, Rokun 60%, and Aisha 63%. Zakir Hussain Chandni's maternal uncle said the family lived in a single room on the ground floor of a 5-story building. The fire broke out while they were asleep. All 5 members were burned in the incident, were later rescued and taken to the Burn Institute. Now, international news. Israel continued heavy strikes across Gaza on Thursday, killing at least 82 Palestinians across several attacks, including 9 aid seekers waiting for humanitarian assistance. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he hopes to reach a deal in a few days for the release of more Israeli captives held by Hamas in Gaza. But key differences remain, with Netanyahu saying Israel's fundamental conditions were that Hamas lays down its weapons and no longer has governing or military capabilities. Hamas wants a definitive end to fighting, the withdrawal of Israeli forces, and the unrestricted flow of aid. French President Emmanuel Macron called for the UK to join France in recognizing a Palestinian state, stating that it is the only hope for the peace in the region. Israel's attack on Gaza has killed at least 57,762 people and wounded 137,656, according to Gaza's health ministry. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has held rare face-to-face talks on the sidelines of an ASEAN meeting in Malaysia, discussing the war in Ukraine as well as developments in Iran and Syria. A substantive and frank exchange of views took place on settlement of the situation around Ukraine, the situation around Iran and Syria, as well as a number of other international issues, Russia's foreign ministry said in a statement following the meeting on Thursday in Kuala Lumpur. Both sides repeatedly expressed interest in easing tensions and resuming dialogue in areas beyond the battlefield. Lavrov and Rubio confirmed their mutual desire to find peaceful solutions to conflicts, restore Russian-American economic and humanitarian cooperation, and facilitate unimpeded contacts between the societies of the two countries, the ministry added. The Russian side described the meeting as constructive, saying dialogues between Moscow and Washington will continue. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will impose a 35% tariff on Canadian goods starting on 1 August, even as the two countries were days away from a self-imposed deadline to reach a new trade deal. The announcement came in the form of a letter published on the Trump's social media platform Truth Social, along with additional threats of blanket tariffs on 15% or 20% on most trade partners. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said his government would continue to protect Canadian workers and businesses as they work towards the new deadline. Trump's letter is among more than 20 that the U.S. president has posted this week to U.S. trade partners, including Japan, South Korea, and Sri Lanka. Trump has also imposed a global 50% tariff on aluminum and steel imports and a 25% tariff on all cars and trucks not built in the U.S. He also recently announced a 50% tariff on copper imports scheduled to take effect next month.